All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Late Night eBay Purchases. So, I've got two things I'm going to open up today. The first one was intentional. The second one is an old camera that I bought as not working or untested, I should say. So, we're going to see if we can get that one going. First, though, is a more necessary item, and let me get this box open and then we will see what we have in here. So, a second here. So this is the second Nikon F2 I have owned, and I really regretted when I sold the first one, and the only reason I sold it was because I was just kind of got out of photography for a while, and just wasn't really using it, and I don't really like when things just sit around. So I ended up picking up this F2 directly from Japan. It is a beautiful example, very good condition, very happy with it. I'm still waiting for the first roll of film to come back from the lab. However, the first thing that I noticed is the focusing screen is I believe it's the B type, so it's just a kind of a micro prism. It apparently is a little more geared towards uh, longer focal lengths, things like that. I don't know if you'll be able to tell from here. Probably not. Um, Basically, there is a 12 millimeter circle, and then that's your focusing screen. It's not the more traditional split image focusing screen, which is what I like. So we're going to go ahead and change that out. That's what this is. I believe this is an A-type screen, which is what actually came with these. Now, I will be honest, I have never changed one of these screens before. So this is going to be a first that I'm going to do on camera. The screen seems to be in pretty good condition. However, I can see that there's some marks and things like that on there. So I'm going to pause the video for a second, and I will be right back. I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit. So I will be back. Okay, so I am back. Got this cleaned up a little more. As you can see here, I think I got most of things out of it. It was obviously used, as you would imagine. However, I hope this is the right one, but I guess we'll find out. So anyway, get on with the video, right? So to take the head off of the F2, you push down on this, you push forward on that, and then you push in this button back here. And I know this one actually came off pretty easy. So just set this off to the side for a second here. The first one I had was almost impossible to get off. It was really difficult. And then I'm going to note the orientation. There you can see more of that focusing screen. You can see my workbench here. You can see it's that center 12 millimeter center focusing screen. Not a fan of it. Especially, I'm sure for telephoto work it probably works better, but for this, not a huge fan. So I need to kind of see where this lines up. So I'm going to do is take note. So that was facing the shiny side, and then the matte side was facing down towards the mirror. The shiny side was facing up towards the viewfinder, and then the letter, yep, this is the B screen, was facing the back of the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and switch these out. What I don't know is how to put these back in. I presume you can kind of just push this in. It kind of falls into place. I don't know. Some of you Nikon Experts are probably cringing at all of this. All right, there it is. Make sure it won't fall out. Nope, we're good to go. All right, let's go ahead and put our head back on. Very happy with this F2. When it first arrived, I was um, very pleased. It was honestly, it was the first camera I'd ever ordered from Japan. Showed up in about 4 days. Um, yeah, couldn't have been happier. All right, that just clips back on like that. All right, so you won't be able to see it probably through the camera. Maybe. Let me test it off camera here for a second. Oh yeah, much better, much better. Honestly, it gives, it's throwing off the illusion that it's maybe just a little brighter. I don't think actually it is. However, yeah, that's much better, much improved. So this came, I'm going to put this one back away. This one's in really good condition. I probably will hang on to this because I have heard that these are good for long telephoto work. If you've ever put a 200-300 millimeter lens on a film camera, especially an old manual focus one, you know that that is not an easy task focusing. And apparently these B screens, it's kind of what they were made for. So cool that this came in the original case. And it's got a little chip there, not a big deal. I think I paid like $25 for this. And you can see here, it's not the right focusing screen box, but oh well. Made in Japan. You can see the old, wherever Suburban Photo is from. I'll have to look that up. $20. So I'll hang on to that, set it off to the side here. And now I have a good focusing screen, a split level focusing screen in my F2. So anyway, that was the first part of the video, which took longer than I was anticipating. So I may edit that down. So let's get to the more fun part of what did you buy on eBay for, I think I paid $20 for this. Might have been $20 shipped, $25 shipped, something like that. Let's see here. A little note. Thank you. Cool. Thank you. Oh, I forgot that this came with the case. So I was looking for an easier. Here, let me get all this out of the way first. I was looking for something a little easier to carry around, kind of more of a point and shoot camera. However, not necessarily a point and shoot. So after some research, I settled on the Nikon, or excuse me, we were just looking at the Nikon. I settled on the Minolta Hi-Matic AF. Now, I will be perfectly honest, when I ordered this, I was thinking this was the AF2, which is kind of the one I wanted. However, I realized afterwards that this was just the AF model. Not a big deal. This was not expensive. Like I said, I'm in for this. I don't remember the exact, but certainly less than $30. So here's the case, which is actually in really good shape, almost surprisingly good shape. So I will put this all away because I will, in all honesty, probably not use that, but nice to have. So I will set that off to the side. Okay, so now the fun part. Here is Minolta AF. Now, there's a couple of fairly minor differences with the AF and the AF2. The big one, which I was kind of disappointed about, is the ISO, or the ASA as it was called back then, tops out at 400. As you can see there, you cannot go any higher. Is that a big deal? Not really, but such is life. So as you can see here, this comes with a 38mm f2.8 lens, which is really cool. And it's kind of a unique camera because, as you can see here, it is a manual film advance, but it is autofocus. So I purchased this based on the pretense that this was basically untested. They said, seems to work, but don't know, basically. So let's see if it fires. Nothing. Okay. not totally shocked there. So first and foremost, shouldn't be any film in there. Light seals are there. Probably need to be replaced. They look like they're probably pretty easy to replace. So let's go ahead and get some batteries in this thing. Now I believe this takes, battery compartment is fairly clean. And I believe this takes a couple of double A's, which I have here. I'm going to put some lithium ones in there. So let's go ahead and load this up. I like it when cameras take very easily sourced batteries. Okay, so we got batteries in there. It did say that the flash did not work. So, which I wasn't too worried about. Honestly, I rarely use flash, especially in a camera like this. So let's see if it works. Okay, took a picture. Film advance. Watch the shutter. Kind of see it there in the camera. Not sure the shutter itself is actually firing. I don't know if it'll fire with the film back open, but let's see. Seemed like it did. Let's cover this up just a little. The sensor, I'm just going to cover it with my hand. Oh yeah, yeah, you can definitely tell it's metering because I had the meter covered up and it was definitely a slower shutter speed. So let's try that again. Oh yeah, yeah. So what I'm going to do now is, leave the meter is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and really cover that up. Yeah, yeah, seems to definitely be metering fairly accurately. Yeah. So anyway, there's some things. Let me pull it off camera here. It looks pretty dusty in there. Let me pull it off camera and take a look through it. Oh yes, yes. The viewfinder was definitely a thing of the past. It does have an interesting little screen on there telling me how far away my subject is, which interestingly it does it after you have you know taken the picture. It seems, if you know a little bit more about these, comment down below. I'd be interested to see, uh, like to know just a little bit more. So as a manual film crank here. So interesting. Okay, well this is the Minolta Hi-Matic AF. This is the first version, and this is got a nice prime lens on it. Apparently most people consider this pretty sharp. This is a pretty popular point and shoot camera. It's definitely a little bigger than I expected. It's not huge, but we can give it a size comparison since I've got the F2 right here. I mean, you can see the body is actually a little taller than an F2, so it's decent size. Of course, it doesn't weigh very much, whereas the F2 is essentially a boat anchor. Might even be heavier than a boat anchor. So anyway, seems like this works. The flash does not seem like it works. We can test that quick. I didn't really check on that. Let me cover that meter up. Yeah, flash doesn't seem to work, which is fine with me. I don't really like the flash. So anyway, I'm going to get this one cleaned up, but this seems like that was a successful find. I will say it's a little sticky. Doesn't smell like an ashtray though, so that's always good. The film advance definitely feels a little chintzy. I would not say that is I wouldn't say this is a cheap feeling camera. It's definitely solid enough. There are some metal components to it, like this bottom plate, and it seems like the top plate are probably some kind of aluminum. something like that. But the rest of the camera is plastic, it would seem, except for the filter threads. They seem to be probably aluminum, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up. Might throw in a picture, maybe a before and after of cleaning it up. It is um, it's pretty dirty, pretty dusty right now, but a lot of grime on it. So, but it does seem to work. So I would say that was a successful eBay purchase. These are the cameras I really like to pick up. The ones that, this was being sold by a not really camera seller. It was just a random eBay seller, um, probably plucked out of somebody's basement. And this camera was probably one step away from ending up in a landfill somewhere. And now it has a second life, and I'll get it cleaned up. And in short order, I will probably get a roll of film ran through it and see how it does. So anyway, let me know what other videos any of you want to see. It makes whatever I can, and yeah, I will catch you on the next one.